Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a rainy Tuesday morning, and guess what I found in my stuff last night? This right here, a Gideon Bible. It was through a Gideon Bible that started my walk with Jesus Christ. I've had this since about 2017 when I was in prison. And it's so powerful because I kept this in the pocket right around my heart, and I kept it right next to my offender ID. And one of the things that I was thinking about is one of the hardest things that I had to go into. Being in sobriety, let me tell you something. The hardest thing about coming into sobriety was it was surrendering to the Holy Spirit. Because first of all, I wanted to stay sick. You know what I mean? In some strange way, it's footwork to go into recovery. I was going to have to admit that, okay, you know what? You was a bad mom. Who the heck wants to admit that they're a bad mom? Who the heck wants to turn around and say that I left my children at home while I went to go at the game room and smoke meth? Nobody wants to admit that. Some people like to stay on a crux. Some people don't want to go through healing because it's too hard. Because before you get ready to look at everybody else, you got to look at yourself. And when you look at self, it's a hard thing to look at. Let me tell you something. Looking at self was the hardest part of me going into recovery. Because at that moment, I knew that if I started to work on me, I could no longer I could no longer be sick anymore. And for a long time, I stayed on a crutch. I stayed on a crutch that I didn't have a mom. Then, the good Lord, she called my mom home. Then I said, okay, it was my grandmother. Well, the good Lord called my grandmother home. Then I said it was my dad. That's the reason why I was in my addiction. And then he mended that relationship. So I no longer had a crutch, and after I got ready eliminating everybody who I used as an excuse to stay in my addiction, I had to look at self. And that was a hard pill to swallow. So a lot of people, they stay out there and they stay sick because that's their crutch. They know at the moment that they pick up that Bible, they're going to be convicted. That's why people don't pick up the Bible. And I'm just putting this on your brain. If this ain't pertaining to you, okay. But a lot of people don't pick up the Bible because they know that there's truth in it. And they know that if they pick up the Bible, then they know they're going to be judged and they're going to have to do something about their life. And that's a scary thing because we always resort back to what we're comfortable with. When we are scared to step out into the unknown, guess what we do as addicts? I'm a delivered addict. And I say that word because addiction is real. But you could be delivered from it. But let me tell you something. It took a lot of footwork on my behalf. God ain't going to just come along and magically make everything all right. You have to be willing to submit to the Holy Spirit. You have to be willing to say, okay, you know what? I'm ready to do this footwork. So if you're staying away from the word because you're scared to put in the footwork, choose today that you're going to go ahead and take the first step. Just ask him into your life. He'll do some work with you, and you just got to meet him a little halfway.